Hey there, it is May 5th, 2023, 5523 Cinco de Mayo, and here we are, WWE SmackDown live from Puerto Rico. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. It's me, Alfred Konuwa, joined by Glenn Rubenstein. Tonight, Issa was on the scene. She may crash the stream, probably not, but she might. She's having the time of her life. Wrestling
Homecoming
is
for
happening.
Issa.
Yes, Puerto Rico is lit tonight. What a difference a crowd makes.
Yes.
I can't remember
Excellent.
the last crowd we heard that was this just excited for the show.
Into everything, down to the spot.
Yeah. It's great. It's weird for me being on the other side of the screen. I have to flip this. I just couldn't.
I know. You don't make a good Alfred. There we go. Now the world is back to being normal.
Yes. So before we hop into an incredibly hot SmackDown, what else is going on in the world of wrestling?
Well, if we're going to talk about hot, let's stay with that theme in terms of the white hot ticket sales for AEW All In. When we last saw you, first day of pre-sales, they did 36,000, and these numbers have now ballooned to about 60,000 tickets. And I believe that's a $7.7 million gate, as reported by Tony Twitter Fingers himself. So today was the first day of general sales. They sold the 60,000 tickets around the past 3 days. So they went on pre-sale beginning Tuesday. And now that we're on Friday, it's now on general sales. So the 60,000 sales for All In, obviously a great number. Tripled, I believe, their previous record of most tickets sold for an event in terms of Grand Slam. And this is their debut in the London market. Chris Jericho celebrating, Tony Khan, and All In doing about 60,000. They got an outside shot at the number that I think they really want to get to, 79,127, which is a SummerSlam number in Wembley. So they got a couple of months to release more tickets, to start announcing matches, which I don't think is going to move a whole lot of tickets unless it's some game changing, Drew McIntyre, which we're going to talk about a little later, or Goldberg maybe shows up. Maybe they'll get there, but 60,000 tickets, nothing to sneeze at, Glenn.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, this could end up doing 70, 80, 85,000. Be shocked if it goes beyond that, but hey, who knows at this point,
Yeah, it looks like there's 6,000 tickets left, and so that's just based on how many they're able to sell this run. So if they find that they need to open it up more and more, they can get to these record-breaking numbers if they are so inclined, if they continue to sell these tickets.
Yeah, I think this is going to be huge. And can you really compare SummerSlam Wembley number? I mean, when was SummerSlam?
SummerSlam was 1992, but adjusted for inflation, even if you adjust both numbers for inflation, I believe that the Wembley show in AEW is still a higher number. And ticket sales have gone up. Yes, it's maybe not an apples to apples comparison, but it is the only comparison to make in terms of pro wrestling being in Wembley Stadium. It is a historic venue that the last time it happened was in 92. And so this time, in terms of a major wrestling company going to Wembley Stadium for AEW, it's proven to be a success.
Yeah, and I think that, look, if you want to talk about 1992, I mean, that was 31 years ago. We had a different monarch in charge of England. That's how long ago it was. That, now we've got a king. We had a queen back then. That's how long ago it was. Raves were new in England.
Were they new in the 90s? Raves were...
Yeah, well, they started in like Manchester, but KLF was topping the pop charts. That's how long ago 1992 was.
Who was the number one? Who's the sexiest man alive that year?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I mean, in Great Britain, probably different than in the U.S. That was pre-Hugh Grant,
No, it was pre-Hugh.
Yeah, Hugh Grant was mid-90s. Oh, my God. Who's the sexiest man alive in 1992?
Who is
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte! Oh, my God. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Nick Nolte, sexiest man alive. Who had that in their video? I would have never guessed that in a million years.
Queen was topping the charts again with Bohemian Rhapsody. Right Said Fred was riding high on the success of I'm Too Sexy. So different world now. You think Right Said Fred will go up and perhaps play Sammy Guevara out to the ring?
If they need to sell that last 6,000 tickets, you got to roll out Right Said Fred. I believe that they're hiding them in their back pocket in case they hit a snag trying to sell 79,000 tickets. Right Said Fred will sell you those remaining tickets.
Yeah, I think that could really do it. I think that could make all the difference in the world for getting butts and seats, as it were.
I also love the pettiness from WWE, mentioning Wembley Stadium on NXT this past Tuesday, as we remarked, and then tonight showing all the places in Europe that they've sold out on this European tour, which is not, this is great. They've had a very successful, legit sellouts everywhere in Europe because, maybe they're feeling the pressure a little bit and they need to control the narrative in terms of saying they are the most, I believe they said the most powerful brand on the planet or something like that, which you never hear much of for WWE because they don't even acknowledge any other wrestling companies. So they never feel the need to say that we are the best in the planet. So I think WWE is seeing these numbers and starting to make sure that they remind everybody that they are the worldwide leader.
Yeah. I mean, but this is very exciting. I think this will get a lot of mileage. And that's the strategy, though. I mean, WWE, in theory, do they want to do these European tours where they go all around, or do you just want to do one big shot like this and concentrate it into a huge gate? There's an argument for both.
There really is. If you're AEW, you definitely want to do it the way they're doing it in terms of selling the most tickets possible. I do believe it looks like this is going to be a TV special, which they're going to have their work cut out for them in terms of competing with this Puerto Rican crowd. But having 60,000 plus inside of a building on TV is also going to look very amazing. They're also going to be a very hot crowd. We all know European crowds are as good as any. And so that's going to be a fun crowd if that's a TV crowd. And it's going to put AEW's best foot forward in that they're going to be available for more people to watch, and people potentially casually watching for free are going to see this massive crowd in this wrestling company. And they're going to say, wow, this is a real wrestling company, until they go on Twitter and see how Tony Khan acts. And then they'll be like, oh, never mind.
I think, they'll excuse some bad online behavior. I mean, Ricky Gervais is still huge there. So
yeah, he's the man. How old was Ricky Gervais in 1992? Was he in his 50s or something?
Then he was, how old is Ricky Gervais? 61 years old. Okay, so he was 30 then.
Shouts to Ricky Gervais. I believe he's a deeply funny human being who's just misunderstood sometimes.
Yeah. Needs to do something as good as extras, because we haven't had anything super solid from him since then. Yeah. So yeah, man, tonight though, like, this is go places where they are hungry for wrestling. That's what tonight proved.
Yeah, and WWE's doing that. I mean, they're going to go to the O2 Arena, for Money in the Bank and whatnot. And that's just going to be a change in terms of having a pay-per-view overseas. But they really need to do this more. When AEW goes to Canada, same thing. I love when they go to these new territories.
Oh, I mean, remember AEW for a long time just kept running the same markets. I mean, they weren't even going all over the U.S. They didn't go to California until this year.
Yeah. It was years before they came out, even to the West Coast, let alone, they were in Vegas. So years before they came out to California.
Northern California specifically. But it's crazy. So what else is going on in the news before we get into this exceptionally hot show? Fuego.
Yes.
Tonight.
Fuego show, our last news story before we get into this. And after this, I'm going to go get my charger, so nobody be alarmed. But Drew McIntyre might not be in the good graces of WWE. Looks like there's a good chance, according to a friend of the show, I say that facetiously, Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, is saying that it's a good chance that Drew McIntyre exits WWE at the end of his contract. I don't really know when that is. Contracts are always a thing in wrestling. There was a quote-unquote health issue on April 7th with Drew McIntyre, but he has not been seen since WrestleMania. And it looks like there's a contract dispute between Drew McIntyre and WWE. He was a red-hot babyface, looked to be taking over as a number one guy as a babyface in 2020 before that year was cursed, and Drew McIntyre's career followed suit. He lost one time after another to Bobby Lashley. For anybody thinking of Cody Rhodes getting squashed by Brock Lesnar or WWE overthinking Cody Rhodes, look at Drew McIntyre in terms of what can happen when you overthink a babyface, no matter how hot they are. And I do not blame Drew McIntyre one bit for wanting to leave. And if Cody Rhodes loses to Brock Lesnar this weekend, I think Cody Rhodes should start thinking about going back to AEW, which he inevitably will. But Drew McIntyre looking like a name to watch in terms of AEW potentially landing him. It would be very, very, very interesting if Drew McIntyre's contract somehow in some universe was able to expire. He was able to force himself out before All In, because Drew McIntyre in London as a big splash, I mean, that'd be a big deal.
No, absolutely. I'm excited for what he does next. I think in WWE, it's a very tough position to be in, where you're the guy below the guy, and you're just in this constant position of being given opportunities that you're not allowed to really capitalize on. And I mean, he did win the championship at WrestleMania, but since then, it's kind of just been a superstar in waiting. It's a very, very weird spot, and I can't imagine it's one that he's happy with. And right now, clearly, look, Roman's got things locked down on SmackDown. I think Cody's gonna have things locked down on Raw, and yeah, you know, gotta suck kind of knowing that the highest you can rise is going to be to a position to lose to the champ. It's got to be really tough. You know, it's in between two, right? It's like you're too big for the IC or US title, but you're not seen as the guy for the main championship.
Right. And I mean, it helps that they added this third championship, this world championship. I know Drew McIntyre was on the short list of potentially winning this, but I wouldn't blame anybody for being a little frustrated in terms of the world title is going to be another albatross. Roman Reigns, I don't think, is losing this title anytime soon. So if you're on SmackDown, there's only so high you can go. If you're in WWE, there's only so high you can go. It'd be nice if Drew McIntyre won that world title, but he just seems like one of those guys who he does need a change of scenery. He needs to go somewhere else where he comes off as a major star. And I think Drew McIntyre in AEW, not only a full complement of new opponents, but he would come off as a major star there. And in ways that he hasn't come off since being, I would say, since pre-pandemic.
I mean, look, they created that new belt for Cody Rhodes specifically.
We'll see. I mean, Seth Rollins, according to Las Vegas, is a big favorite to win this belt. There are some arguments in terms of people thinking that Cody Rhodes needs to pay his dues and have adversity, that Cody Rhodes should beat Roman Reigns. And that's all well and good, but you can win that title and then maybe merge the titles next year at WrestleMania or have some story where he beats Roman Reigns. I think that title will matter the most if it's on Cody Rhodes, though.
Yeah, I think it's going to be him or Seth or him and AJ in the finals. Although I think AJ is probably being rebuilt for Roman. Not that he needs much of a build.
Yeah, and I think AJ and Roman, if done correctly, is going to be a great match. Nobody's going to buy AJ Styles beating Roman Reigns, which is part of the problem.
That's exactly
going right back to that. Just like Cesaro and Daniel Bryan when he was around and Kevin Owens, it was never really that guy who could have beat Roman Reigns until WrestleMania. And now that hasn't happened, that's going to be an even stronger feeling. Now, like if they didn't take the belt off this guy at WrestleMania, who the hell is going to beat him? And there's nobody on this roster right now, I think, who's going to be believable to beat Roman Reigns until the next time Cody Rhodes gets in the ring with him. Well,
okay, so the believability, by the way, it's not the opponent that's not believable. Your inability to suspend disbelief is looking at the calendar and doing the math.
Yes.
And if you're going to 1,000, you don't dethrone him on 1,001. You know?
Right.
That's the problem. I feel like this is going to be, at least a 4-year, 5-year championship reign at this point.
God, don't say that. I don't think that's good.
The good news is we're almost 3 years. We're almost 3 years into it, though.
Yeah. Okay. Is it almost 3 years?
Yeah. 1,000 days.
1,000 days would be almost 3. Yeah. But I just don't think this era is built for that. I think there's going to be a tipping point with this bloodline storyline and Roman Reigns' run. It's easy to look at how hot this storyline, and it is cooling off, but how hot still the bloodline storyline is and kind of projects forward like, oh, he could have this for years. But there will be a tipping point where people start to legitimately get sick and tired. And it'll be funny because it'll be the same thing we had with Roman Reigns as a babyface, where he was a rejected babyface. We could have the same thing with Roman Reigns as a heel, where it's like, you're supposed to hate heels, but it could be one of those things where I'm sick and tired of this. I don't want this guy as champion anymore. Yeah. And he can get those types of reactions.
He's not going to get Dominic Mysterio heat.
No, because Dominic Mysterio heat is part of the storyline. What I'm saying is he's going to get like Roman Reigns 2015 heat as a heel, where it's like, they're booing you the way they should as a heel, which you could argue is still a success, but it might manifest itself in they want this to end. They're not booing you out of entertainment value. They're rejecting and rebelling against the product.
I think we tipped past the too long point. It's like the Homer Simpson joke where he's stepping on the rakes. Or no, it was Sideshow Bob, pardon me, in The Simpsons where he's stepping on the rakes. You know, it went from being funny to not funny to funny again to not funny again to funny again. And Roman is in it's okay again. I think, look, Cody fans, join the Sami Zayn fans in getting over your disappointment. And strap in because we got a while left on this ride.
Kumbaya. I hope it's not another year. I think that would be a big mistake. I think whatever WWE's plans are, and I do trust they're creative. For the most part, just because Vince McMahon is always going to be that wild horse out there to upend everything. So I like Triple H's direction. I don't love it, and I still moderately trust it, but there can be such thing as too much of a good thing. And they need to decide, when is it going to be time to end this bloodline storyline? Because we're getting closer and closer to that moment. Whether they know it or not is going to be the big question.
I think it should be Solo or Dominic Mysterio. I think it should be something a little we don't see coming. Maybe Solo betrays Roman to help Dominic Mysterio and they form a tag team.
I could see Solo Sikoa. Listen, we don't know who's going to be in this world title tournament. I could see a universe where Solo Sikoa is the guy who wins this world title, and you start to tell the story of who is the alpha in the bloodline. I could see it.
But the bloodline needs something new, right? So, I mean, the breakup seems like I think the breakup is going to happen. I still think, based on Sami and Kevin getting annoyed with Riddle, based on the way the Usos have been treated in the bloodline hierarchy, I think we're going to still see a flip-flop trade of Sami and Kevin to SmackDown, and the Usos have to go to Raw. Because the bloodline breaking up is the only bloodline story left that's interesting at this point.
Yeah, but maybe that's why they need to be on one show, so WWE can stop relying on them, so that on Raw they can tell some different stories. You can't rely on a champion who's here once every month. He's about to celebrate 1,000 days off before he celebrates 1,000 days as champion. And so Roman Reigns,
to be fair, he worked like 30 of those days.
Roman Reigns has earned the right to do what he's doing. I will always defend your ability to be a part-timer. The best workers in the world know how to make more money with less dates. I will never denigrate somebody.
It's true. He's the Chat GPT and OpenAI of professional wrestling. He's figured out how to game the system. He read the Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week, and he's just putting it to great use.
He's a glitch in the matrix. But at the same time, as somebody enjoying the product, there's going to be log jams if you're going to rely on that. And with SmackDown, let SmackDown be the only brand worrying about that, because you can't log jam the whole company with these two brands vying for a title and a champion that's never around.
Yeah, no, I agree. Anything else in the news?
No, nothing else in the news.
Okay. So tonight, SmackDown from the island of Puerto Rico. The go-home show for Backlash, also in Puerto Rico tomorrow night.
Could be a hot show tomorrow. I can't wait.
I mean, tonight, they like that opening promo. Okay, I don't want to make a declarative statement, have somebody check me on this, but this feels like the most important night of wrestling history for Spanish-speaking fans of professional wrestling. This was the biggest stage the Spanish language has ever gotten, and the culture has gotten in professional wrestling on a global scale. We had an opening promo and face-off that was almost entirely in Spanish.
I would say with like World Wrestling Council and even Triple Mania and stuff like that, could be some.
But on a global, like on the biggest stage,
in terms of being broadcast to the world. Yes.
This was going to be seen by 3 million people tonight. I picked a good year to start learning Spanish, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, how far along? We should have done this podcast in Spanish.
I am 103 days is my streak on Duolingo that I've been going and doing this. I'm understanding words better in song lyrics, which have been great. And in this promo tonight, I understood like every fifth word. So
wow. That's how they're going to learn English, because they were singing every word to Cody Rhodes' song in Puerto Rico, which I was pleasantly surprised. But yes, this opening segment was just set the perfect tone. It was the perfect people in the opening segment, because obviously the story of Zelina Vega being in Puerto Rico and the LWO and all of that. I thought it was great.
No, I mean, this is a case of they just let them go out there and do their thing. And yeah, as Kelvin's saying, the crowd was hot tonight. It's going to be hotter tomorrow. I mean, this was the energy you could feel tonight from the fans, and it was cool. I mean, when's the last? I mean, they were doing the pin count and dos tres.
Yeah.
It really felt like, and I hate to say this, but when they've done the Saudi shows, they deal with some of the limitations, but I don't feel like we get the culture, and that's probably because WWE wants a little distance on some of that. But tonight felt like they really allowed the culture to shine as part of the show.
Yeah, I agree. And it looked, just the entrances alone looked like a WrestleMania, and they shot this crowd great to show you how big of a crowd this was, that they weren't just anywhere on a random Friday night. I love the entranceway and the pageantry that they had, and a lot of the entrances, crowd singing along. So this was a show that they knew they were somewhere different, and they shot it different to show the viewer, how big of a deal it was. And I thought they did a good job with that.
Yeah, and by the way, Montreal, where were you with the 1, 2, 3 counts for the pin? My Quebec
basic ass 3 counts.
Yeah, the Quebecanese have let me down.
Isn't it the Quebecers?
Quebecois, I believe, is the cultural term. Much love to Quebec, but still, like, come on. They let Sammy got a little bit of French in, I believe, in his promo. But there was that great promo that Sammy and Kevin cut off the air completely in French. That was amazing those years ago. But yeah, this was phenomenal tonight. This opening face-off with Dominic and Rhea and Ray out there with the LWO. Yeah, this had WrestleMania energy. This was absolutely insane. And Finn Balor probably is on the level of speaking Spanish that I am. Finn looked like, I'm just happy to be here. I'm just going to smile and nod.
He's like, sí.
Yeah, sí. Fuego. Fuego is game. Fuego is fire. Yes.
Mi amo Finn.
Wait, mi amo mi nombre. Como se dice? Yeah. Finn just stood there and it was cool. But no, this Finn looked such like the third wheel tonight. But I love this promo. I love this face off, and I love that this set up a main event where Rhea and Dominic challenged Ray. Rhea and Dominic challenged Ray, and then Zelina got involved for a mixed tag in the main event.
Yeah, this was very good because at first when this was over, I took it as it was going to be a handicap match where it was Dominic and Rhea versus Ray. But then it became clear that it was going to be this mixed tag. And I wouldn't have had a problem, not to get ahead of ourselves in the main event, I would not have had a problem with Zelina pinning Rhea here. I know it's been a year since
I thought we were going to get that.
But like in Puerto Rico, just because of how hot this crowd was, I was just feeling like they deserved it. They just deserved something big to happen.
Yes. I thought that was going to happen tonight. I really thought. Oh, there. Okay, so as Kelvin's pointing out, Finn is married to a Latina. I retract. Finn probably knows a bit more Spanish.
Yes, she works for Fox Sports in Spanish, and I actually met her during WrestleMania weekend. She's a very hard worker, very good at what she does.
Anyhow, regardless, Finn looks like the kid tonight. Dominic Mysterio looked like a man. God damn it! And Finn looked like tonight in Puerto Rico. Finn Balor was Dominic's sidekick.
Finn Balor was Dominic's Dominic. It was like Dominic was Ray and Finn Balor was the Dominic.
It was insane. Mike Martin saying Zelina was clearly nervous. I think all of LWO, I think that you could see that like Rey Mysterio very comfortable, and LWO was probably like, holy shit, can you believe we're getting to do this? Like you could see them marking out tonight, and it was awesome.
I don't blame them. It's in their home country. It's a huge, massive crowd. The emotions of the moment probably were something that we'll never be able to understand in terms of somebody being there for the first time. These are all world traveling competitors, like who are seasoned veterans, and it's still the first time that they're doing this. So you could only imagine the scale in terms of the magnitude of what that would mean to them.
Yeah, and this is where we talk sometimes about representation mattering. I mean, think about all the times when you see the vignettes where it's like, oh, Sheamus and Drew are in the UK and we're in Ireland and Scotland, and doesn't this mean a lot, and isn't this cool? So for them, I mean, bless, more power to them. It's amazing they got to have this moment. They're having 2 nights of this moment.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun 2 nights. They're going to have a lot of great highlights.
Yeah. So I love this face off. Love these promos. I don't want to talk too much about the main event, but Zelina should have got the pin because I don't think she's getting it tomorrow. Just a hunch.
Yeah, I don't either. Stranger things have happened and the crowd would lose their minds, but I don't.
Why aren't we getting Dominic and Ray tomorrow night?
I don't know. I mean, and just based on their exchanges and how hot that was, that would have been great to get Dominic and Ray one-on-one. Why not do that? Why not just, maybe they'll do it impromptu, but I'm surprised that they couldn't find anybody for Dominic. I mean, he was the hottest heel in wrestling on Monday. He flexed on everybody in terms of how he was booed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what they're saving it for. Even if they feel like it needs to breathe a little bit,
never happened.
This is the place to do it, man.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like they blew it off tonight.
Yeah, it's very that's my one critique. But then we had the OC versus the Viking Raiders.
Whew.
The crowd
I
was
like
hot
this
for this
match.
still.
Very hot. This is like the first taste you got in terms of what this crowd was going to be like, in terms of them getting into everything and chanting when somebody would hit somebody. This was like, so it really made the match stand out, and it made this, I think, one of the best matches of the night. They're already two very good tag teams, but this crowd was right there with them in lockstep. It's good to see the OC back. It was funny because they kept cutting to AJ Styles, who was on commentary, and a lot of times AJ was reacting to what the crowd was doing. He was reacting to the match. He was just like, oh my God, these people are crazy. Like, he was reacting to the crowd instead of the match, and you couldn't blame him.
AJ was very nervous going to Puerto Rico because he feels like he's that much closer to the edge.
To the Adam Copeland or the Edge?
Both. Sorry. Never gets old to me, at least, that joke. But no, I think that AJ was great in commentary. AJ is definitely being built for this Roman feud. But no, look, the OC and the Viking Raiders, listen to the reaction these teams get week in and week out. And tonight, this elevated them. They perform. This is why, I mean, we talked about this before. This is why crowds matter, man. Like, this made them seem, this crowd's reaction to them tonight put both teams over more. One, I think they wrestled better because they felt like the audience cared, which a lot of times they get in these weird cool down spots. But yeah, this tonight, it was a chance for them to feel like they were, at the top of their game. And I love that. And this match was really good as a result, with the OC getting the win.
Yeah, I love this match. I mean, it was a good wrestling match on its face, and the crowd really helped level it up, make it maybe like a whole level better than it would have been in front of a normal crowd. And it's good to see AJ Styles back, but they still kind of use him in this bit player role. And this does not seem like a guy who's being heated up to win a world title or to compete in any type of major storyline. So whatever they've got planned for AJ Styles, I really need to put him out in front of people and have him talking as soon as possible. Mike
Martin, who's putting in the work, according to that photo. Congrats, Mike, on getting in such good shape there. Damn. And the tattoo moved sides. That's how much weight he lost. But Mike saying this was better than the Raw after Mania. I was because that's a low bar. This was probably the worst Raw after Mania in recent memory this year. But no, tonight
this is a different era of Raw after Mania. I feel like 2017 might have been the last great Raw after Mania. 2018, whatever year that Roman Reigns beat the Undertaker and they went crazy.
Oh yeah, this is my yard.
I think that was 2018. Yeah, that was the last great Raw after Mania, and from then on, they're just Raws.
No, if you've been watching the WWE product, or if you haven't been watching it, you could literally watch WrestleMania, read the recap of the draft, and then just skip ahead to tonight. You miss nothing in the time in between. Nothing at all. Oh, Mike Martin saying DDPY. DDP yoga is amazing. If you haven't looked into that, like I do the stretching still. I'm not doing the full workouts because I will get triggered vertigo with inversions sometimes, but the stretching and the breathing techniques from DDP yoga still have stayed with me. My flexibility is still there. I highly recommend that if you're looking for a home exercise program. And Mike Martin's results are indicative of what you can do. And for me, every time I've lost weight and done that, it's really, really helped. So let's talk about Bianca Belair coming out tonight, dressing Io Sky ahead of their championship match for the Raw Women's Championship tomorrow. That I assume she's gonna trade with Rhea for that SmackDown titles. Yeah,
this was a fine segment. Didn't really do much to convince me that Io has a chance. It was interesting because now you got the English speaking promo, and I felt like with people who spoke English with promos, the crowd was very nice and polite, but I feel like a lot of them didn't understand what was going on in English, but they knew when to react. So when somebody would yell or, start to get fired up, then the crowd would get fired up. And they kind of kept a lot of these promos shorter, I think, than they would have been on normal TV. Very smart, because you don't want to have somebody going on too long in English in a Spanish-speaking country.
And I'm just going to hazard a guess that maybe half the crowd, like I think the ratio of people that watched the week in and week out product tonight was there were probably more people that were casuals that just love wrestling in general and want to see Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny. I think the ratio, and tomorrow night probably even more so, people that don't watch week in and week out. So it's tough for Bianca. I'm worried about Bianca and the Cricket Wireless commercial.
Why is that?
Well, I hate those Cricket Wireless commercials. And I'm worried this is somehow going to tarnish her shine.
You think she's going to be associated as the Cricket Wireless girl?
I'm just saying I just worry. I'm just saying I worry. Remember the Dolph one where it was the girl and she was like, I'm on fire, and you knew wire spin? That was the last time a cricket commercial, I think, helped a superstar.
Yeah, and then they had the one with Charlotte Flair, and they just show those over and over and over again. So it's good exposure for Bianca.
The Kofi one, that could have been the curse for Kofi. That could have been why Brock beat him so much. It was the cricket curse.
What if there is we got to examine who's been on these cricket commercials, because Charlotte Flair is out again, and she was injured around that time she was in those commercials. So there might be a cricket curse, honestly.
I you know, much like all good conspiracy theories today, I completely just made that up and pulled it out of thin air. But much like the Avril Lavigne clone double, there could be some truth to it.
There's going to be a cricket commercial resurfacing with Sol Ruka and like all these NXT talent who keeps getting hurt.
But this was good. And then Raquel and Liv got to come out and get involved in it. So, of course, you know, no promo goes peacefully tonight. But yeah, everyone was having a good time. And I think the crowd just didn't know exactly what to expect. I think this was a chance to get a lot of people on the show and keep building tomorrow.
Yeah. Because Raquel and Liv aren't going to be on the show tomorrow, are they?
Do they have a tag team defense? I thought they did against... no, I guess they don't against Damage Control. Look at the Backlash.
Yeah, because it might be... I can pull it up.
You know what's so weird about this Backlash card? I think that we all in our heads like auto-booked this based on what we thought was happening, and the actual card is decently different than what we thought it was going to be.
And it's only like 7 matches, so it's not going to be that long of a card. And yeah, Raquel and Liv Morgan are not on the card.
Yes, but Seth Rollins versus Omos is, you know, the match that just makes complete sense to everyone. The public is dying to see. The one that really you couldn't do Backlash without it. That's going to be on the card.
It's not Backlash without Seth Rollins versus Omos. Unexplained.
Yes, but it'll be a great match tomorrow. Bianca and Io are going to have a great match.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a steal the show contender for sure. I mean, Io is one of the best in the world, and if they just let her do what she does against Bianca, there's no way this is not going to be a good match.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But then we had the Usos and Solo Sikoa backstage, so they're hyping up the 6-man,
teasing that Solo might turn on him.
Yeah, I think that's the next step. But then in Imperium versus the Street Profits, again, when there was wrestling tonight, the crowd just came alive.
Yeah, and their entrance too. The Street Profits doing the hands up. That sometimes it'll get crowd going. It always depends in the States on how good the crowd is. But this crowd was great, obviously. So they all did it with the Street Profits, and they were going, "Hey, hey!" to the Street Profits music. So I thought it was awesome.
Yes, you know, Puerto Rico knows how to party, much like California.
They do. Doesn't rhyme though.
I mean, California knows how to party, doesn't rhyme either.
Yeah.
You know,
it does not, but you can bend the words a little bit.
Here's the problem with party. It's like some genius figured out party and Bacardi, and that's just been right. Like everyone just goes back to that and it's just run it into the ground.
Yeah.
You know?
So if you invent something, make it rhyme with something that's fun, you know, party.
Yes. In fact, in Spanish music, Spanish language music, juego and fuego is probably the rhyme I get most annoyed by, because that's the cliche.
Fuego's game.
Yeah. Like the Menudo song Fuego, it's like, you know, I'll be the one player, you know, fuego, fuego, fuego. Yeah. It gets used all the time. All the time. So Party and Bacardi have definitely similarly been run into the crowd. So Street Profits won tonight. Good match, quick match. Imperium, aside from Gunther, you know, they are. What do we say? Gunther is the JC Chazé and Justin Timberlake, and Imperium are the other 3.
Yes. Or I thought they were both the Lance Basses, or maybe even the Chris Kirkpatricks.
Yes, the rest of Imperium is all Chris Kirkpatricks and Joey Fatones. But I mean, Gunther, we're waiting for Gunther's solo album, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's dropping soon. That's going to be all over the streets by the end of the year.
Yeah, he's working with the Neptunes. Clips is going to do a guest rap on it. He can just remake that first track, that first JT track.
He should have Timbaland come in as his producer and do. I saw him dancing with his wife at his wedding. He's not too bad, so they could do Sexy Back.
Here's the funniest thing, Alfred, and this is where our audience should really freak out. Somebody gave me shit. They're like, "Oh, you're always talking about 80s movies and music." Yeah, okay. Well, guess what? I'm making a 2002 reference here, and that was over 20 years ago. So you're old as well.
We gotta start making more 90s references too, because that was the best era, is the 90s.
Debatable. Different, but still good. So Street Profits got that win, and then we heard from Cody.
Yes, we did.
He
Big old
got,
star.
yeah, I mean, he really over with this crowd tonight.
El Cubano, and I'd like to wish a happy Cinco de Mayo to the Cuban Cody Rhodes, who was celebrating with his brethren, his Latino brethren, and they went crazy for him. They sang his song in English, the Spanish crowd, and then did the whoa twice, which were the loudest whoas I've heard all year, and there's a lot of competition. Let this be a reminder, this is your top babyface. I don't care what wrestling promotion you are. Nobody on this planet, especially this day and age where it's more toxic than ever, where there's social media, especially in this day and age, nobody has the answer to how to keep a babyface hot for a long time. If you get a hot babyface, that's something you're on borrowed time. People are begging for a reason to get sick of somebody in this world. Like Jay-Z said, they love you, they hate you, then they love you again. So as long as Cody Rhodes is getting these reactions, WWE needs to think about maybe advancing his storylines to where he's not facing adversity and losing. Maybe he's winning world championships.
He has got to beat Brock Lesnar, or else it's just going to be sad.
In the language they're using, it could be his last stand. He's going to cease to exist if he loses. He's going to be the end of his story. They're really using all this overblown language to tell you. He even said, I go to the back of the line if I lose to Brock Lesnar. So
he's winning. Weird. He's winning this match.
I hope. I don't know what to believe with this company anymore.
Unless there's some weird ass surprise DQ finish, he is winning this match. Let me put it this way. He ain't losing this match.
You think it's going to be like a draw? DQ? I could see Brock losing by DQ.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a dumb ending. But Cody is not losing this match. Cody is not going to get pinned or submit, is what I'm saying.
Yes, I certainly hope. I think Cody should beat him clean.
Unless, and I hate this. I hate it so much when they do he didn't tap out. He just went unconscious. Like that's almost worse because it's a technicality, but it still looks like a pretty bad loss.
Yeah, but it is protecting a babyface, and just kind of tapping out the act of giving up is the least babyface thing you can do. So it is one way.
Yeah, it's tough. But it's a good promo. But yeah, he's got to win tomorrow night.
Yeah, he's got to go over. Come on, let's hurry this train up. You've got a stick of dynamite. Don't let it expire so that he could show up on Dynamite one day.
So speaking of which, explosive reaction to Shinsuke Nakamura tonight, and Karrion Kross got the best. This got the best reaction of a match Karrion Kross was in ages.
Oh yeah, but match. The entrance still was kind of quiet, even as good as this crowd was. They kind of got into it toward the end, but I will say this might have been Karrion Kross's best match, and this is not just me being influenced by the crowd. I loved him working with Shinsuke because Karrion was doing the strong style too, and they're beating the hell out of each other, and I loved it.
Yeah, this is a good feud, and it's clearly got a lot of mileage left in it. But Shinsuke looked like a huge star. I mean, he is a huge star, but again, this is where crowds matter so much. So much.
Yeah, they're going crazy for everything Shinsuke was doing.
Yeah, no what chance tonight. Or
Thank
K.
God.
Or if they're saying K?
Okay.
That's actually funny or troll. That'd be how.
Oh, okay. But that would be a hilarious.
Okay.
Get. Oh man. Well, maybe not too many Ks now that I think about it. Just a couple Ks and then you move on, Puerto Rico, okay?
Yeah. Oh man.
I wonder if that was ever a thing. I never used to hear about it in terms because it's like the yes chant became C, but I never used to hear about people saying que in Spanish speaking countries when the what chant was like at its peak in the 2000s.
It's somehow it's a less annoying chant to hear, or it would be less annoying to hear, but it would actually be way more effective to annoy the person doing the promo.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I thought this was great tonight. Also, Shinsuke with his hair when it's down and flying in frazzled from the back, I was like, he was starting to look a lot like Kenny Omega from the back.
Really?
I looked up and I was like, that's Shinsuke. There's just something about the way the light caught in his hair from the back. I was like, oh, yeah, under those lights, he's getting Kenny Omega hair. You know?
Just the hair though. You're not saying the whole.
Just the hair. No, just the hair.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. Kenny Omega, the best slash worst slash best again head of hair in all of professional wrestling.
It's got its own mind.
I'm still not sure what's going on with Kenny Omega's hair.
It changes colors sometimes.
Yeah, it's like, is there a perm in the front and then it goes into a spiral perm and then it straightens out? Like, I need a map or something. But no, look, I thought this was great tonight. We're going to be seeing a lot of Shinsuke versus Karrion Kross, and Kross is going to get over. I hope Kross needs to. Speaking of, Kross needs to cut his hair. Kross, get this due again. Like I just look like, a grown-up Bobby Hill or the Lost Stooge, but Karrion Kross with this haircut looks like a menace.
Yeah, much better bald, stands out much more. And they're talking about how they're making it seem like he's claimed all these bodies. Like he took Rey Mysterio's, and it was so funny the words they decided to use to associate. Like he took Rey Mysterio's patience. It's like, who's ever been like, oh boy, that Rey Mysterio, he sure is patient. Like that's the last word I'm thinking about with Rey Mysterio. Like he took Drew McIntyre's temperament. Again, like Drew McIntyre's not known for being a hothead or anything like that. So it was just a weird way of presenting all the feuds he's been in.
Yeah. Yeah. So we saw a recap of the draft tonight.
He took Braun Strowman's love for the Democratic Party.
Oh, Karrion's going to SmackDown, so maybe this was the blow-off tonight. I felt like this just started, this feud.
That's right. Shinsuke is going to Raw.
Oh, thank you for the correction, chat. Thank you, Ricky, for breaking that down. But no, I feel like this feud built for so long. Isn't this weird that they built this for so long with Shinsuke's return and now?
Well, I mean, this feud, I feel like they've only been promoting it for like the last couple of weeks. And
with the cards and everything. Yeah, okay. It felt like I don't know. But let's talk about the NXT card in the draft. They talked about all the call-ups. And then we had one of the weirdest debuts backstage in recent memory.
Something we've talked about on this podcast.
Cameron Grimes, who has a very unique look about him with the top hat and the vest and the exaggerated to the moon. He looked at, remember like when you were in junior high and like the bad kid that would wear like, maybe the jean jacket and have like the weird scraggly facial hair and the mullet, would then show up for class picture day because his mom wanted him to look nice. That was Cameron Grimes tonight backstage with Adam Pearce.
On class picture day?
Yes, he was there for his class, but his mom wanted him to look handsome like a regular boy. So she bought him a shirt at Sears. And it was a nice shirt. He was going to wear that. He was going to comb his hair and say, yes, please and thank you, sir and ma'am, and get a nice photo that she could get wallet prints for and show all her friends at work.
It's one of those smiles where he's gritting his teeth and he's smiling against his will.
But why? Why was he there? Mike Martin looks like a blue-eyed Drew Gulak. I mean, why was his introduction promo him out of character? For all
that's the thing. Purposes? I don't know whether it's out of character or whether WWE was just not doing continuity this week, but they showed these previews of the NXT stars. Cameron Grimes was in full on. They showed highlights of when he was a rich guy. Yeah. So you're getting excited like, oh man, they're bringing this character back. Then they cut to Cameron Grimes. It's just a regular guy that we saw his last year in NXT. And it's funny because they're getting a little meta now because he's going to feud with Baron Corbin, who was also a rich guy once. They were rich guys around the same time. No mention of that. They're just getting meta and they're just going to have a match together.
They're getting dull. I mean, they're just getting like, oh, hey, you were drafted. Hey, you weren't drafted. Hey, let's have a match next week. Oh, gee, am I going to have my first match next week? Like, this is dumb. And I love Cameron Grimes. I'm excited for Cameron Grimes to get called up. But don't show me this video that makes it seem like because if this is his new character, I mean, what's he, Eddie Haskell? I mean, what's he doing? What's his new character? We saw no character tonight from Cameron Grimes.
It was just the basic Cameron Grimes. And I hope that this feud goes on for a length of time because Baron Corbin is a free agent, and maybe it'll end with both of them starting a finance podcast.
Not a bad idea. But look, if you have no character, which sounds weird to say, but if you have no gimmick or no shtick, right? Your only options are you're incredibly handsome or you're an amazing athlete. Or you're a name that everybody knows.
Yeah, there's no excuse why either of these guys. I mean, Baron Corbin's been on TV for years and he's been a heel, so he doesn't really need. I mean, they've rebooted him enough times, so just have him go out there and be Baron Corbin. But Cameron Grimes is a guy who most of these people have never seen before.
Yes.
And now you're seeing two different versions of him, and I guarantee you, this version that it looks like they're going with is not getting over with the WWE fan base.
No, this was no version. I mean, he should have been back there in the vest and the hat, or he could have worn a sparkly suit in the hat.
Yeah.
He, she looked like in It's Always Sunny, like Charlie at the end of The Nightman Cometh, in like the bright yellow suit and all cleaned up.
Deep
like
reference.
He should have been on cloud 9 backstage, popping bottles, yelling, "Cameron Grimes is here," and go to the moon, talking about giving Baron some stock, trading some stock tips. Like this could have been a super fun promo. Cody versus Corbin battle. Terrible neck tattoos. Cody's is worse, people. But no, this could have been this could have been a great promo face-off. If you would have told me a week ago Baron Corbin's gonna feud with Cameron Grimes, we could have fantasy booked 5 excellent scenarios for this. Maybe gives him a stock tip, Corbin goes broke again. Maybe gets him to invest in a Ponzi scheme, Corbin goes broke. Maybe Corbin gets Grimes to invest in a Ponzi scheme, loses a bunch of money. We could have done so much with this, and tonight this was the dullest possible version of this feud.
It was just strange to see. It's good to see that Cameron Grimes is getting a shot and everything
Absolutely.
like that. But I was actually very excited looking at the promos and what they used with Cameron Grimes, and very disappointed when they rolled out this version. Maybe they're hiding it. Maybe they're just saving up so that when they have their match on Raw, or whenever they have their match, that Cameron Grimes goes into his full regalia.
Yeah, but if you don't know Cameron Grimes and you saw him tonight, how do you even describe him? Oh, and the Cameron Grimes was there and he's excited to be there and he's going to face Baron Corbin next week.
It's just interesting to see what they tell you about him, because before they were like, oh, and he's a guy who knows his stocks and all that stuff like that. Are they going to keep pushing that? They had some weird throwaway term, like a guy who got lucky with finances or something like that. But how are they going to keep pushing this if he's just some guy wrestling?
And in a feud with Baron Corbin, whose most significant character development ever was finance related.
Yeah.
In fact, the bum ass Corbin is more memorable than him retiring Kurt Angle.
Yeah, because him retiring Kurt Angle wasn't memorable. It wasn't.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's the high point of his career. I'm upset about this. This is the biggest blight on tonight's show.
I might be giving WWE too much credit, because with Vince McMahon around, you could never put too much faith in long-term storytelling, but maybe this is the beginning of a long-term feud where they both realize, hey, I used to be rich, you used to be rich, let's put our minds together, and we see a return of both those characters.
But he's going to be tonight this was babyface Cameron.
Of course it was, yeah. But, Corbin is a switchblade in WWE, so I could see them doing an angle where maybe to try to get Cameron Grimes over, you have them together, whether it should be as heels, but
yeah,
I think Corbin make great heels together.
Corbin is great too. That's why this was malpractice. This was a misuse of both talents tonight in this feud. It was right there. Mike Martin saying it looks like Mike Seaver from Growing Pains.
I can't really picture it right now, but
Kirk Cameron.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, but without the charisma, because Kirk Cameron used to be charismatic. Used to be. Something changed. We won't discuss what changed, but something changed in his life.
He found the Lord.
He found the Lord and he lost his charisma. So main event tonight: Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega versus Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley, with Finn Balor there. Crowd treated this like this was the WrestleMania main event tonight.
Yeah, it was the perfect match to main event. I thought this was a good match. I felt like as soon as Rey and Dominic got in there, the crowd came alive. So I definitely agree that should have been a match on this show tomorrow. But I like it. I had no problems with it. This is a great ending to a night that had a fantastic crowd. And they ended with Rey Mysterio pinning Dominic Mysterio as he was trying to mock Eddie Guerrero, Dominic. And so that was a good ending and people went crazy for it. But I really, really was kind of hoping that Zelina would just get that pinfall win over Rhea.
She just for the sake, I rarely say this, just give her that experience of getting a victory in front of that crowd, especially because her team won. Her team won the match.
Yeah.
Ray didn't need that tonight. Zelina could have used it.
Because the big match is Zelina. Zelina is the person who should be highlighted. They ended up highlighting, of course, Damian Priest and Bad Bunny because that is your main event.
Yeah,
but for the purpose of this match, Zelina didn't get it over at all. Like the story they're telling you is she's not winning this match, and they've done nothing to show that that's not going to be true. Like maybe it is going to be a big shock and she wins out of nowhere, but I highly don't expect.
Did you see the betting odds for this? Like,
that's out of control.
Rhea's as favorite as it. I mean, maybe place a $1 bet on Zelina Vega. See what you can make.
Shout out to Jimmy Shapiro for sending those over to me. He does a great job on those lines.
Good fun match though. I liked the abrupt finish, but yeah, I think Zelina absolutely should have gotten the pin. Judgment Day was beating down Ray almost immediately after Damian Priest joined in. Bad Bunny's music kit. He came out with a kendo stick. And we had the great face-off with LWO and Bad Bunny. It's okay. It's kind of weird. Did you notice the body language that Bad Bunny was there communicating with Ray and LWO? So they're like, yeah, Bad Bunny didn't look at LWO at all.
Yeah.
At Santos.
Maybe he was
the Legado guys. Shades. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like he was interacting with Ray and the other guys like were just sort of there. Yeah. Interacting with Zelina a bit, but they got the big moment. I was so afraid they were going to go off the air before he got that LWO shirt on.
Yeah, thankfully he got it on, got a big pop for it. Crowd went crazy for Bad Bunny. It was almost as big as Cody's reaction, but it was a very good reaction.
Almost
for
as
Bad Bunny.
Big.
Almost as big.
Yeah.
And
Bad Bunny is almost as big as Cody Rhodes in Puerto Rico, is what Alfred Konuwa was saying.
Almost the biggest Latin star in Puerto Rico. I would say Cody is the biggest Latin star there. Then maybe Menudo, but I don't know.
Ricky Martin, and then Bad Bunny like below.
He's top 7.
Yeah. Shakira.
Yeah, gotta put Shakira up there. J-Lo. I mean, come on. It's a rich heritage.
And Shakira's not even from Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I'm just talking about Latino entertainers in general.
Yes, Mikel Bose, Luis Miguel, Timbiriche, Cavado, Bizarrap. And then Bad Bunny is what you're saying. Bad Bunny's like in the second tier of fame in Puerto Rico.
That's what you said, second tier. Okay, now you're taking it too far.
I'm not saying
it's gonna get back to Issa.
Issa. We recognize Bad Bunny as certainly one of the biggest music artists in the world. Definitely in Spanish-speaking countries. Actually, not Spain, strangely as much, because I watch. We put on Spanish music video channels all the time, and I swear to God, you go through, Chile, Argentina, the Caribbean, Mexico, and it's Bad Bunny, like all this. Bad Bunny and Shakira is like every Karol G, like that's 50% of all videos. You try on MTV Spain, and like maybe once every couple hours, you see a Bad Bunny video. Strangely, they play Miley Cyrus' Flowers. They play that like twice an hour on MTV Spain. Very interesting.
Maybe the record label has a deal with them or something.
Yeah,
and Raymond Velasquez, Mark Anthony. We can't forget about Mark Anthony.
Strangely, and I like this for a little variety, alternative rock is the predominant music in Spain on MTV Spain. But everything else is reggaeton and pop. It was kind of fun to see like Spanish language music with guitars. Yeah, I like that change of pace. But no, this was great tonight. And look, Bad Bunny tomorrow night's going to be incredible. I don't even think. I mean, are you covering tomorrow? I haven't been told about it.
No, I'm not covering. I believe it's Jimmy and Justin.
Yeah, so we're
not. I will be on Monday Night Raw again, covering Raw. I might have been drafted there. Who knows? Okay,
but here's the example of Backlash. We're not covering it tomorrow night. You're watching it though, right?
Oh, for sure, I'm watching it.
Absolutely. That, let me tell you, folks. When we don't have to cover something for Wrestling Inc., we watch it anyhow. It's hot.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, that we're invested. So, in fact, I think aside from WrestleMania, Money in the Bank, and Royal Rumble, like this is up there. This might be part of the big four this year.
In terms of this year, yeah, you could argue it's ahead of Survivor Series in terms of a big scale show, and Money in the Bank in the O2 Arena is going to be right there with it. And I really do feel that it is a Nick Khan influence in terms of WWE now doing a lot of these big, huge, large scale live shows. But we're going to get a lot more of it as Endeavor continues to take over, because that's what Endeavor's bread and butter is. It's a live entertainment. That's why when they took over UFC's ticket sales have been on fire. WWE's ticket sales already are on fire, but I think that they're going to do a lot more of this. And to your point, Glenn, it's going to make a lot more great environments in terms of hot crowds that don't usually see WWE live.
I was going to say, they didn't televise the India Super Show right? Where Jinder.
No.
Yeah, I hope we get
House
that.
show where he got beat.
I hope we get the next India live event because I think that'll be that's also a huge market for them.
Yeah.
And wrestling fans, they're very passionate. And I like that. I like seeing more culture represented in WWE. I think it makes for a better product.
Yeah, 100%. If they're going to be the global entertainment company with the world championship, you should be defending it all over the world, Roman Reigns, and you should be a worldwide product in terms of going different places. I'm just worried WWE is going to keep going to these different places and beat people in their home country because they're on a spoiler tour. This is going to be yet another event where a Puerto Rican loses in Puerto Rico, whether it's Damian Priest, Bad Bunny, and or Zelina Vega. We're going to get multiple people of Puerto Rican descent losing in Puerto Rico.
I mean, Bad Bunny's winning that match.
Yeah, but again, he's going to beat Damian Priest in his home country.
I think that's kind of a wash.
It is a wash. I mean, you don't have to.
I'm just saying, as far as like hometown crowds, like feeling that representation in a negative way, like,
sure.
Well, guy kind of can't really avoid one of them. Maybe they team up together, and the entire roster comes out, and they just beat up the entire roster and stand tall at the end.
I doubt that's going to happen because
maybe Vince McMahon comes out and tries to speak Spanish, and they just beat up Vince McMahon, and the crowd cheers.
I want Vince to come out and actually speak like fluent Spanish, where like he knows what he's saying. You're wild. I think okay. Regardless of what your preferences are for this, I'm just noticing there is a trend of there's an epidemic, if I may say, of WWE beating people in their home countries, from Drew McIntyre to Sami Zayn to
we had to have a sing-along for Drew McIntyre to keep everybody feeling good.
Yeah, that was weird. Where it was like everybody was crying. People weren't crying, but they were just kind of disappointed, and they were like forcing them to all be happy again.
So there you have it. That was the go-home show for Backlash from Puerto Rico. Issa was there tonight, living it up. She's responsible for WWE coming there.
She brought WWE to Puerto Rico.
She manifested it. Tomorrow night, Backlash. Tune in for the crew covering it. Everybody have a good weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.